Well, good evening. Good evening. We are about to start on our exciting chase scene. If we were in a movie, this would be where the bad guys and the good guys start chasing one another all the way throughout all of the cities. And you know, it always has intrigued me. I don't know if you've ever thought about it, but in all of those chase scenes, have you ever seen anybody just walking up and down on the sidewalks? Or is it just bare? There's nobody there. Next time you see a movie, check it out. Those chase scenes just seem to have nobody there. We're going to be taking a look tonight at 13 and 14, I think. And last week, just for time's sake, I went ahead and read, and then we stopped and had a little bit of meditation. So I'm going to do the same thing tonight. So let's begin, first of all, in chapter 13. And I saw a beast rising out of the sea, having 10 horns and 7 heads. And on its horns were 10 diadems, and on its heads were blasphemous names. And the beast that I saw was like a leopard. Its feet were like a bear's, and its mouth was like a lion's mouth. And the dragon gave it power and his throne and great authority. One of its heads seemed to have received a death blow, but its mortal wound had been healed. In amazement, the whole earth followed the beast. They worshipped the dragon, for he had given his authority to the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast, and who can fight against it?" The beast was given a mouth uttering haughty and blasphemous words, and it was allowed to exercise authority for 42 months. It opened its mouth to utter blasphemies against God, blaspheming his name and his dwelling, that is, those who dwell in heaven. Also it was allowed to make war on the saints and to conquer them. It was given authority over every tribe and people and language and nation, and all the inhabitants of the earth will worship it. Everyone whose name was not written from the foundation of the world in the book of life of the Lamb that was slaughtered. Let anyone who has an ear listen. If you are to be taken captives, into captivity you go. If you kill with the sword you must be killed. Here is a call for the endurance and faith of the saints. Now last week we talked about who the dragon was. So let's go back and remind ourselves. Who is the dragon in this story? The devil, that's right. Well, not everybody was here. That's why we're kind of going back. It's not like I'm throwing out really hard questions or anything. I usually don't try to do that. So the dragon is actually identified in chapter 12 as the devil. So in this particular story, what we're seeing is the devil is giving his power and authority to this beast. The beast is really strange, isn't it? Do we have any idea what the beast might be? Does it matter what the beast might be? Not at all. It's just a really strange being. What we need to understand, though, and remember, is that it does have authority. It's been given authority to do all of these wonderful things. Who gave the beast permission to utter blasphemies against God? Who? Well, yes, but no. Who ultimately gave authority, or gave the permission to? It was God. Who's in control? God is. You see, there's a difference between who gave the beast authority and who gave the beast permission. It was God that gave the permission for the beast to be able to do this. And that's really important in this whole story, because who's in charge? God is. Is anything happening here at the end of the world that God has let slip from his hands? No. It's all still God in control. Who gives permission to people today to fight against Christianity?
God.
Very good. We can take that truth and apply it to today. Even those folks who want to do away with the Bible and do away with the cross symbol and do away with all of the things, prayer in school, those folks have been given permission by God to do that. Now, does God want that done? No, not really. Does God want this beast to blaspheme him? No, not really. But he's given it permission so that we can get to the end of the story. You see, if we haven't started the chasing at this point in time, then we'll never get to the end of the story. What other authority was given to the beast? Did you remember? Besides waging war on the saints.
He could talk. He could talk.
It could talk. Okay, the beast could talk. But not only was it waging against Christians, but it was given authority over every tribe, every people, every language, every nation, and all the inhabitants of the earth. So it wasn't that the authority of this beast was only against the Christians. God gave permission for this beast to be in charge of the whole world. Now, important question. What is more important? Who the beast might be, or who is in charge? Who's in charge? And so we know who's in charge. That is God. That's important to do. So let's take a look then at the second beast that's going to be coming up here. And again, this is not the first beast. Then I saw another beast that rose out of the earth. It had 2 horns like a lamb, and it spoke like a dragon. It exercises all the authority of the first beast on its behalf. And it makes the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, whose mortal wound had been healed. It performs great signs, even making fire come down from heaven to the earth in the sight of all. And by the signs that it is allowed to perform, hear that word again, it is allowed to perform on behalf of the beast, it deceives the inhabitants of the earth, telling them to make an image for the beast that had been wounded by the sword and yet lived. And it was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast could even speak and cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. Also, it causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to be marked on the right hand or on the forehead, so that no one can buy or sell who does not have the mark. That is the name of the beast, or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let anyone with understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a person. Its number is 666. You've heard it before as 666. Okay. That's what everybody goes, ooh. I don't like that number. My wife's first 3 numbers in her driver's license are 666. I mean, we're really not talking about 3 numbers, but we are talking about the fact that whatever the number is, it is something that man has made, not God. So if it's one of those barcodes, like some people think it might be, got a barcode right here, then they just scan you, as well as scanning all your things that you're buying, and it immediately takes it out of your checking account. If that's the case, then that's fine. God gives permission for that to be done. But the second beast is actually, or all 3 of them, the dragon, the first beast, and the second beast, are a poor imitation of the Trinity. Let me say that again. The dragon, the first beast, and the second beast are a poor imitation for the Trinity. For the dragon holds himself up to be God, like the Father. This beast is one who supposedly was raised from the dead. You know that little wound that looked like it was fatal, but now he's alive again? And then we have the Holy Spirit, this second beast that does everything, which is what the Holy Spirit does with us today. It's the Holy Spirit that intersects with us. Now, I think it's really kind of interesting that Satan thinks that he can become as good as God and put together his own Trinity.
Fool everyone.
Do what?
And fool everyone.
Fool everyone. And whoever's on the earth, most of them are being fooled at this point in time. The mark of the beast is the number of a human being. It's not a 666. It is something that human beings have put together. Again, I ask you this question. Who's in control?
God.
God the Father is still in control. So we've been looking at the earth for these last two things. Let's switch now and look at what's going on in heaven. Then I looked, and there was a Lamb standing on Mount Zion, and with him were 144,000 who had his name and his Father's name written on their foreheads. Remember them from earlier in the book? They were the ones that were sealed. They're about 5 chapters earlier. And I heard a voice from heaven like the sound of many waters and like the sound of loud thunder. The voice I heard was like the sound of harpists playing on their harps. And they sing a new song before the throne and before the 4 living creatures and before the elders. No one could learn that song except the 144,000 who had been redeemed from the earth. It is these who have not defiled themselves with women, for they are virgins. These follow the Lamb wherever he goes. They have been redeemed from humankind, as first fruits for God and the Lamb. And in their mouth no lie was found. They are blameless. So, which scene gives you a little bit more peace and confidence? The one that I read earlier about all of the stuff going on with the dragon and the beasts, or this one?
Definitely this one. Definitely this one.
Definitely this one. This is what gives us peace, because now we're looking back on the one that we know loves us. And that is Jesus Christ himself, who gave himself up for us. This is the one that we need to keep focusing on all the way throughout the Old Testament. Because he's the one telling the bad guys which street to turn down. Because he knows where he wants them to end up. Now, I just have to ask this question. Is this passage sexist?